Hey, what's up, everybody? Tim Albrecht here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ask a YFP CFP segment of the Your Financial Pharmacist Podcast, where we feature questions from you, the YFP community, to be answered by one of our very own fee-only certified financial planners. Please note this podcast is intended for educational purposes and should not be considered financial or investment advice, as we do not know all the variables to one's personal situation when answering a question. Before we jump into today's question, a shout out to our extraordinary YFP financial planning team that makes this segment possible. Your Financial Pharmacist offers fee-only comprehensive financial planning services that are customized to the pharmacy professional. So whether you want to pay off your student loans, make the right investment decisions, or simply build a solid financial plan, we'll help get your income working for you rather than the other way around. You can learn more by visiting yfpplanning.com. Again, that's yfpplanning.com. Okay, this week's question comes from Lalit.
Hi, I would like to ask a question to your financial pharmacist, certified financial planner, about buying a new or used cleaner vehicle such as plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or full electric vehicle around graduation or right after graduation. Does it make sense to club together various discounts, rebates, incentives such as manufacturer's discount, manufacturer's cashback, manufacturer's dealer warranty, and many a times there are new college graduate discounts offered by the manufacturer and the dealer, as well as various utility bill rebates on clean vehicles, HOV stickers or carpool lane stickers, and various tax incentives such as federal tax credits as well as state tax credits. And also many a times there are 0% interest rate or 0% APR offered by manufacturers and dealers. Does it make sense if they all club together amount to almost more than $5,000? Does it make sense to go ahead and buy a new car or a cleaner used vehicle right after graduation or around graduation from pharmacy school? I hope you can share your views and expert advice and help us understand this major transaction to its fullest. Thank you.
Thank you, Lalit, for submitting your question. We featured on this week's Ask a YFP CFP episode of the Your Financial Pharmacist Podcast. Tim Baker, really interesting question. I think something we haven't talked about before, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and really the consideration on purchasing that, considering the amount of discounts that may be available, as Lalit mentioned in his question. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is something that's near and dear to my heart because I've gone on record that I would love to buy a Tesla one day, and one because I think that the vehicles are beautiful and well constructed, but also from a social aspect, I think cleaner and better for the environment. So, and that really turned me on. I think one of the things I've always been fascinated with Elon Musk, but also I watched this documentary. I think it was called "Who Killed the Electric Car," and really it was about we should have solved this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think because of lobbyists and just different interests with fossil fuels, it has really put cleaner options in terms of how we get from A to B with cars on the back burner. So it's kind of an interesting time right now because because of where the market is, and I think a lot of this stems to the semiconductor issue. I think early in the year there was a fire in Japan at where a lot of these chips for cars are. It's really creating a supply and demand issue. So right now, there is not enough supply to meet the demand of the cars out there. So there typically are incentives and things like that are either government backed or even incentives to buy now because dealers are trying to move cars. But right now, if you have a car to sell, like it's the time to do it either to a dealer or privately, because the supply out there is just so low. And I think it's going to be like this for most of the year.
Time to get the bike out, right, Tim? Sell the car, get the bike.
That's right. Yeah. And I know this because my wife and I we looked at, that was one of the things we actually did this weekend, is we looked at some vehicles, because we're potentially, trying to figure out if we want to, upgrade from a mid-size to a fuller SUV, or even a van, jump on that bandwagon with the kiddos. But basically the dealers are like, we're basically at sticker, if not more. And I've actually heard people paying more because of the supply and demand issue.
Wow.
So particularly with, EVs, I think, if we kind of set that aside, and we kind of talk about this more broadly, EVs, electric vehicles and hybrids have come a long way in the last couple of years. And I think just about every manufacturer, Tim, has some type of EV offering. I think a lot of them are even going to be completely moving towards EVs, by 2030. I don't know if Chevy put that out, if I'm misquoting that. But with that said, we still trail a lot of, Europe and China, in terms of like this particular market. I think back in the day when these first started to become more mainstream, there was always a question about performance, right? Will this get me to A to B? Am I going to be stuck on the side of the road? Can it go 0 to whatever in this amount of seconds? And I think all of those questions have been answered. I think from a financial perspective, it is a higher out of pocket, initially. Hybrids and EVs are going to be more, even with the incentives that are out there. But as technology improves and economies of scale improve, you're going to see lower prices. But that might mean that you have less incentives, particularly from the government, to buy these. And you typically see this, this relationship as gas prices go down, so do the prices of EVs. As they go up, typically the prices, of EVs goes down. So the big incentives that I would want to talk about here are one is the federal electric car tax credit. Now, the problem with this is that you don't get this, Tim, at the point of sale. You get this when you meet with your financial pharmacist to basically file your taxes for you. And then it's kind of more of a record keeping thing where you get basically a dollar for dollar credit. So like, I think it's up to $7,500 for that purchase. So if I earn, it's non-refundable too. So like, let's give you an example. If I owe $5,000 in taxes and I have a $7,500 credit, then it actually zeroes out that tax bill of $5,000, but I don't get the $2,500 back. If I owed $7,500 and I got the credit, then I would basically owe zero, but I'm not getting any money back because of it. Now, the big thing here, Tim, and this is kind of going against my favor, is they currently, the tax credit is phased out after an automaker sells $200,000 of EVs or hybrids. So what does that mean? That means that Tesla, as an example, if you buy a Tesla today, you do not get that credit. Even the Chevy, and it's by model too. So all of Tesla models, because they've sold more than 200,000, they don't get that. The Chevy Bolt, same thing, you don't get that. But there are a lot of other makes and models of cars that it's still available. So it's kind of this weird thing that currently is on the books. Now, state and local, they do give you some incentives. So some up to as high as $5,000. And a lot of those are at the point of purchase where they'll actually like give you money when you buy it, and you don't have to wait, a year to when you file your tax return. They just like the question was asked about like other incentives like carpool, and like a lot of the states are doing things to kind of incentivize their constituents to buy EVs. Colorado, I think, is the best state out there. Other ones like California, Maryland was pretty good, Connecticut. But some states have nothing. I don't think Ohio really has anything on the docket right now. I think the part of the last thing that I would mention is, I think this could change. So a lot of these kind of started to go by the wayside under the Trump administration. And I feel like, and I've been reading about this because I'm interested as a consumer. I think Biden, under his presidency, I think he wants to kind of kickstart this a little bit more. Maybe not right now, given the environment, but I think he wants to, because we rejoined the Paris Accord, he kind of wants to put more of an emphasis on clean energy and the United States really cutting emissions, I think he's going to do something in his presidency to incentivize people to start buying EVs. So, it's a little bit of a moving target, Tim, with regard to, what the environment could look like. Eventually, it's going to be where we're going to, I think eventually, gas cars are going to be something that's a memory.
Yep.
So there won't be incentives there. But I think we're in this inflection period where I think that we still need to subsidize a little bit of the higher cost and get people really, on board with more of an electric type vehicle.
Great stuff. And thank you, Lalit, again, for taking time to submit a question. Give us a chance to talk about a topic that we haven't talked about before. And I know something that Tim and I are both interested in. As a small thank you for submitting your question, we're going to be sending you a super comfy YFP t-shirt. And to those listening, we would like to hear from you and have your question featured on an upcoming Ask a YFP CFP segment of the podcast. You can submit your question by going to yourfinancialpharmacist.com/ask YFP, or you can send us an email at info@yourfinancialpharmacist.com. Have a great rest of your week.